Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Networking the No Rules Way. I'm your host, Sabrina Watson, founder of NetworkLiveVirtually.com, and I'm here with our co-host, Christy Smallwood, author of Networking the No Rules Way. You can show up your book, Christy, so that everybody can see your book. That is available on Amazon. And Christy Smallwood has been kind enough to also share her book with us on Google Drive so that you can read it with us or just read it, whatever you'd like to do. Do you have that link available, Christy?
Yeah, I thought I had it copied, but let me recopy it and put it in there. Hang on a second.
Greatest life and create life and style has joined us. Good morning. Oh, that's Tammy. Hi. It's Mia. I get so confused with you, my dear. she's got good morning. She's got more. She's Tammy here, and I know her as Mia, and you got me all confused, babe. That's why I get confused. I don't know you as Tammy. I know you as Mia, but I do know you. So anyway, what are we going to talk about this morning, Christy? What's our topic?
So today comes from chapter 6, talking about messaging.
Messaging. Awesome.
Messaging. Okay. So messaging really is kind of a combination of what you're going to say, what you look like, all of your branding, and, not just a tagline for your business or you, but it's everything combined. What is the culmination of the message you're putting out there, and how do you do that? So messaging encompasses everything: the way you look, the way you act, your body language, your tone and inflection, the language you use. Are you using a lot of slang terms, or are you keeping it, that kind of language? And then what are the words that you're using on top of that? So it's the culmination of all that kind of stuff. So in chapter 6, I bring up the whole concept of whenever you look at a business that's out there. So I talk about branding. Branding is kind of easy to talk about. So whenever you see Home Depot, what color do you see?
Oh, well, one of them's orange. I'm not sure which one it is, whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's.
Right?
Okay.
So right. One's orange and the other's what color?
I have no idea.
That one would be blue.
Ah, there we go.
Right? So if I said KFC, what color comes up?
I don't think of a color. I think of the face of Colonel Sanders, and the new Colonel Sanders isn't the old Colonel Sanders.
No, they'd made him look younger with an apron. I've got the story behind that because I worked at KFC during that time. Okay, so if I say Nike, what comes up?
A swoosh.
A swoosh.
I don't know what color it is, but it's a swoosh. Golden arches.
Mm-hmm. Apple.
A bite out of an apple.
Very good. NBC.
Peacock.
Exactly. If I were to come up with like a rock.
Like a rock. Well, I don't even know what like a rock is, so I'll say a rock.
That would be Chevy. They use that song, Like a Rock. So if I said just do it, who uses that tagline?
Nike.
Mm-hmm. What about loving it?
I think that's McDonald's.
Yep.
That had to take a minute for me to think about it. Interesting. So what we're saying is I need to develop my own, when people say my name, what they think of.
Right. What do you want people to associate you with?
Wow.
Right. That's part of the branding. And we've chuckled around with my association with Wonder Woman. Now, clearly, I am not the shape of Wonder Woman, Linda Carter.
You can't fly either.
Yeah, and I can't fly, and I truly can't, I don't have real magical bracelets and the golden lasso and all that kind of stuff. However, the association that I have with that, I make sure I'm very intentional. When people see me out and I joke about it, they can see it. It isn't an instant association because of my eye colors, my eye color, my dark hair, how I present myself, my attitude, as well as I'm usually wearing either red or blue, typically. And I always wear big bracelets. And so people have that instant visual association with me being Wonder Woman. I don't have to look like Linda Carter. They have the association. I have no issues with that whatsoever. So now what's happened is that it's become anytime somebody sees something that has Wonder Woman on it, either in a store or online, anywhere, they are sharing that with me, or they're texting me, hey, saw this at the store today, thought of you. It's the best marketing ever. So what are some things that you want to be associated with? Because I'm a one-man shop. I don't have $100,000 marketing budget to spend every year. I just don't have that. So to be able to put that out there for people to remember me faster, the Wonder Woman is an aspect of my messaging. And because of what Wonder Woman stands for, and she brings ideals to the world, she's very protective. She's a warrior spirit in a peaceful embodiment. That's me. That's also me. So it all ties together. Not everybody's going to have that. So like Charlene, her little icon, her avatar, so to speak, is a little detective lady.
With a magnifier. Yes.
Exactly. And
I love it.
Business is search by Burke. So she's the detective with the magnifying glass, right? It makes sense. People associate that with her. And the color scheme is the color scheme that looks good on Charlene. The oranges and browns and, very fall colors. It looks good on her. So whenever she's out and about, she wears that color scheme because it looks good on her. And that color scheme is also attached to her logo. So when people see the logo, it's a psychological attachment. They can picture Charlene in that picture, right? So the details do matter when you're messaging. And that's just part of the branding. That's the branding aspect. Where I train people to start whenever we're talking about marketing and setting up the message is start with why you're even doing what you're doing. Why are you getting up in the morning? Do you have your purpose defined? Because everybody has a purpose. Do you have it defined well enough to talk to a third grader and they repeat it to somebody else? It needs to be that simple. So it doesn't have to be a full page mission statement. Get it down to a core statement of why you do what you do and that it's easy to understand because you want people to remember it. The goal of having a message is that it's memorable and repeatable. So because quite frankly, it's one of my challenges right now during my reinvention is because that's the curse of being Wonder Woman. I can do a lot of things. And so I have this world of opportunity here of everything Christy can do, but I have to get it down to one core statement. And I'm still working on that one core statement. But at least people understand I have the association built into place. Now I just need my new core statement that's not associated with a business partner. So even in that transition, and I have methods of how to even get to why I do what I do. And so that is, let me see if I'm going to draw it out. So bear with me a second here. And it might be backwards because of I don't know. You have to let me know. What, how? All right. You see? So if my words are backwards, I apologize.
No, they're actually fine.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So there's a concept that I teach on is that who we are determines what we do and how we do it. Okay? Who we are determines what we do and how we do it. Even brushing our teeth. So usually if I'm in a room full of people, bottom line, everybody, I'm assuming, brushes their teeth. Okay? But how we brush our teeth is different. So do you, Sabrina, how do you brush your teeth? Think through your process.
Very methodically.
So do you do water?
I have a little electric toothbrush, that goes around and around and around, and I go right up to the gum, one tooth at a time, all the way across.
And see, you use an electric toothbrush. I don't. And so I put water, and then I'll put the toothpaste, and then put water again, and then I start brushing my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through okay, so who does toothpaste, then water, then teeth, or who just does toothpaste, then teeth? And then I've learned, I was like, okay, who brushes their teeth in the shower? And I've got a couple people in the room that just because they're efficient, they like to just get everything done in one spot and be out the door. They don't want to have to mess with methodical. They just want to get it all done at once. Because of who they are, they're doing this thing. What they're doing it differently. So even in basic day-to-day functions, we are all doing stuff differently. So then how do you define that uniqueness in you? So then we look at this, and once we start getting all of this stuff defined, and the who really is the key thing to define. When we are out and networking, what we do and how we do it is very easy to say. So if I were to come up to you and say, Sabrina, what do you do?
I've been trying to narrow that down to saying to people, now I look at people and I say, can you offer your products or services outside of your local geographic area? And if they say yes, I say, that's what I do. I connect you with people locally, nationally, and internationally on a virtual level.
I like that. Good job.
Am I doing okay? It's taken me some time to find this.
I like because you started with a question because it gets them thinking differently. So good job. And it's good and concise, but enough of a conversation starter. That's awesome because you want to continue the conversation. So the rhetorical question in the room is always going to be, what do you do? I mean, especially when we're networking on purpose, we're here, we're talking about this stuff. We have the live virtual networking shows that we do through your platform. We know we're there to network. We know we're going to talk about what we do. How do we set ourselves apart in the room? How do we define our own uniqueness? And so that goes back to it's really easy to talk about what we do and how we do it. Really, really easy. What I do is coaching consulting. How I do it is through my own personality. Quite frankly, I have tools that I use. I do it on an individual basis. I do it on a group basis. That's how I do it. This is really easy. Hardly ever do we pull this into play because once we start getting this and all of these gears are working together, that will help define the why. The why will naturally bubble up, and then we can focus on this by really getting down to the core of this because this defines our uniqueness. And this who element, I mean, you guys are this is going to be the blab to save for a great training. That who we are has a ton of layers of things as to what defines us. Burger King used to have a tagline of "Have it your way." Mm-hmm. That's how it starts. We're defined by our age, so our generation, our gender, our religious beliefs, our geographical location, our birth order, our culture, our race, our education level, our income level, our skills, our talents, our gifts, and so on and so forth. There is a bunch of that. And then as a coach, I can go in and look at those belief sets that makes us who we are, because the way that I believe about money is different than the way my friend Christoph believes about money. I like his version. I'm going to get rid of mine and start thinking about how to think like he does about money because he makes money a lot faster than I do. So, that's where we can start evaluating what's true and what's not. And then as we come up with that, things that really start to spark us when we are evaluating our who, the things that really drive our purpose will come to the forefront. But it's taking the time to evaluate that, to define it, and then we can work on the why. And so once we get to that defined why message, why we do what we do, then we are able to message very succinctly, and people will gravitate to that much faster than just saying I'm a coach, consultant, groups and individuals. That's too much of a box. But if we're giving them the why we do what we do, people are gravitating to that at a whole different level. So there you go. There was my soapbox so far.
No, that's a great soapbox. But when you're talking about developing your message, and part of that is your persona, which we just talked about. So you try to connect yourself, or you have connected yourself with a bit of the Superwoman character.
Mm-hmm.
So what about somebody from like me who doesn't have a fictitious character that they want to connect themselves to?
Sometimes it can be an ideal or something that you're interested in. Let's think about gift giving. So, okay, think about that person that you didn't know what to get for them, and then all of a sudden you found out they like John Wayne movies. So now what's the thing that you know you can get that person and they're going to like it? John Wayne movies. So they end up with everybody getting them that thing that they know they like. That's giving somebody else that definition. So if you have something, say like, well, you look great in animal print. I can't pull that stuff off.
Yeah, well, 30 years ago I could wear animal print all the way down, not anymore, but I can only wear animal print from about here up.
But that is part of your persona, you know, because you look great in it, and it's also it matches your personality. So,
and I do wear a lot of animal print, but I never actually realized that till just now when you said that.
Once we start evaluating those things that, I mean, it could be, I have a lady in my network around here. She's a financial planner. And one of her key things is that she is always wearing a pin, a very beautiful brooch or pin or something on her shirt or her blazer. That's her key thing. I know Gretchen by her pin.
Oh, the rest interesting.
Of it, yeah, because it's something that's been associated with her. I see it's consistent. I see it with her every single time. And so it could be anything from, you know, if you have the logo wear, Interstate All Battery Center. I don't know if you have them in your area.
No, but we have them up in Washington.
Bright lime green. You know, when you see those guys in that lime green shirt, you know that's Interstate All Battery Center. It could be even just a color, like your absolute favorite color, or the thing that has meaning. If you have, you know, a tree in your logo, or you've got, you know, a little monkey, then you would have monkeys everywhere. You would have, or if you have frogs, if you've got something, there's another lady in my area who does Wacky Wednesdays, and she uses a frog in her stuff. She has decorated, she wears a frog somewhere on her when she does Wacky Wednesdays. So you know that you can find the frog with her. Same for any company that has a brand with an icon to it. Now, when we had Arkham Executive, we had a circle shield with the diamond behind it. And so anything that we did, we associated those icons everywhere. So whenever you see that shield, you can associate it with that company. Just like Nike has the swoosh. It doesn't have to be a fictional character at all. It can be anything that represents your total package, your individuality. My new company's called Eagle Eye Executive, and I'm doing just an eagle. So at some point when people see me, they will, and because there's still an association with Wonder Woman from the eagle because of the breastplate. That is the form of an eagle on her breastplate. And so I can use that. That's just an association that I'm keeping with that.
Okay, so we've talked about our message with regard to how we dress and presenting ourselves. What is the next item that would be on our message list about how we're going to put a message out?
So really getting into words, defining that why statement. And when you get to a why statement, it really becomes a purpose statement, a very concise purpose statement as to this is what I'm about. This is the thing that fuels me in life. And I usually use an example of Southwest Airlines. I'd read a case study on them, that they have a core statement that says, we are the low-cost airline. Now, one of the things that helps in that, having that statement, is not only is it good for the public to know that whenever you're dealing with Southwest, you're dealing with the lowest cost airline out there. But when they are making decisions, if it does not line up with that statement, they are not going to do it. So if they have a choice to feed me and you, either on a coast to coast flight, on a 4-hour flight, if they have a choice to feed us chicken or peanuts, if they are the low cost airline, which one do you think they're going to choose?
Peanuts.
Exactly. Because that sticks with their core statement. Mm-hmm. So there's benefits to having that defined core statement and really get it down to one sentence. The goal of getting that one sentence is that if you tell a third grader, they can repeat it to their friend and it's understandable. Not that anybody's stupid. You just want it very effective and efficient. It needs to be easy to understand, easy to grasp onto quickly, because in networking situations, you don't want to be confusing. You want to be able to have an engaging conversation. The best way to do that is to keep things short and concise that will open up conversation. You started out great with that question for that person first and then went into being concise. That's a perfect way to start the conversation because it opens them up to, oh, well, tell me more about that. Then you can go into more detail. But that why statement, getting it really defined, is key.
I haven't actually figured out the answer, though, when somebody says to me, no. No, I can't sell my products or services outside of my geographical area.
Well, yeah, that's a good one.
So I need to figure that out, but I will figure that out by tonight.
Yeah, because you just picture, like, did you ever watch Price is Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have that Plinko game,
mm-hmm.
the Plinko board. So you have, the little discs that it goes all over the place. Conversations the same way. You can kind of plan that out. You just have all your little pegs because if they say no, it's going to go this way instead of that way. So then you have, oh, well, just like, Etsy or whatever, you're selling something, you're selling books. A friend of mine's selling books and she's getting it out. Blah, blah, blah. You come up with something that gives them the idea of what that looks like. And then ask them what they do. Because then you can become the expert if there's the opportunity. Like if they do plumbing, probably not unless they want to get outside of their regional area. But if they have something that can be transferred to an online format, you then become the expert to show them that whole new world of opportunity that's out there for them.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So we've talked about my presentation as part of my message. We've talked about my introduction as part of my message. What's the next step on our message list?
The next step on the message list is have that message everywhere. Really. So we've talked a lot about having this conversation while you're networking, but make sure that message shows up in all of your platforms. So that now we're looking at brand consistency. So we've talked, messaging is a lot of brand identity and pulling that message together, but now let's look at the consistency of that. Is it on your LinkedIn? Is it on your Facebook? Is it on your Twitter? Do you have it in whatever other formats that you have that's online out there, or any direct mail that you may do, flyers you have, invoicing that you do? Is that why statement everywhere you go? Because people don't remember it after just one time seeing it on a piece of paper. We need to have that multiple aspects to it so that we can start to remember things. This is why you want to keep it short and concise so it's easy to remember. That's the goal of that. But you need to have it everywhere and it needs to be consistent. Mom and pop restaurants have a big challenge with this because their menus rarely look like the sign on the outside. They'll just, do something else until it's pointed out. Some people just throw something together and do it. I'm working with a salon now, same thing. They've just thrown together a flyer about their wedding services and it looks nothing like the rest of their branding. Like, we've got to change this so that it fits this. So everything's consistent across the board. That's brand consistency. Make it consistent.
That makes me wonder. One of the things that's part of my logo is that it says we build relationships. And I'm almost wondering if I should change that to we build global relationships.
Something to consider.
Something to consider. I just want to remind everybody we're at the half-hour mark, that we are Networking the No Rules Way with author Christy Smallwood, author of the book, Networking the No Rules Way. And we do have a hot seat if you'd like to jump on in. She also has provided us a copy of her book on Google Docs, so you can read it there if you'd like. You should also probably have a link to Amazon so that people can purchase your book from Amazon. I know sometime back we had a gentleman, Michael Mann, in our audience who purchased your book.
Okay.
And I do, like I said, we have an open seat. So if you want to talk about networking, we'd really like to meet you. And we are interested in networking the No Rules Way, in addition to providing you with some networking training, because we genuinely have a connection crisis in this world. Right, Christy?
Mm-hmm.
People do not know how to network, and they do not know how to connect. I recently went to an event in Tampa Bay where there was it was a business symposium, and part of the portion of that was like a kind of a speed networking thing. Mm-hmm. But there was 450 people there. So it was a crazy number of people. But anyway, during the portion of my speed networking and my other networking portion that I wandered around in, which was like the meet the merchants portion of it, I came home with 58 business cards. And of those 58 business cards, I actually sent emails out to 31 of those people and asked to connect with them. I am not exactly sure how many of those people actually did connect with me. I haven't counted, but I sent them the link to my scheduler, and my scheduler was full this week. It's full next week, and it had quite a bit in it last week. So people are reaching out, but it's kind of curious to talk about, and I should do I should write a blog post on this research actually, but of all of the people that I've connected with, I've only had one so far that just spent our entire conversation and time together trying to sell me his product. And as soon as he discovered that I was not going to purchase his product, he was done with the conversation. Mm-hmm. He was an older gentleman, so clearly he had no idea about the way, he was just here to sell me, and if he didn't sell me, boom, he was gone.
Out, yeah.
So, and the other conversations that I had, there was a little bit of given and take and back and forth conversation and talking about each other and how we might be able to collaborate and things like that. But so, even those people, I still had to kind of pull a little bit of conversation out of. Like I said, we are in a connection crisis, people. If you want to meet people to sell your product or service, you need to connect with them. Mm-hmm. Don't be a pigeon. Don't just fly by, drop your shit and keep flying, as I like to say. Land, say hello. Take some time, because I'll tell you, I do business with people I know, like, and trust, and everybody throws that tagline around, but not everybody actually lives it or walks it or talks it or any of those things. And today in our conversation with author Christy Smallwood, we're talking about messaging and the message you're putting out. So I'll let you recap what we've talked about for messages, and then you can move on, Miss Christy.
So far we've talked about, having this concept of who we are determines what we do and how we do it. And then the why is bubbling up from these gears all working together. So evaluate this aspect of things, really dig deep into that individuality, what makes you unique, and then how that's applying to your business. Because any entrepreneur, they are pretty much the heart and face of the business. So that's going to bleed over. Then what are you associating that with? So that becomes then your brand identity. What are you putting out there in the words, in whatever icons, pictures, colors, scents, music, all of that? What are you associating your why statement with? And keep the why statement very clear, concise, easy to relate to, easy to understand. And then put it everywhere so that it's consistent. So all of those images, those colors, keep that consistent across every platform that you're using. And there's a ton of opportunities out there for that consistency to really have an awesome brand identity with all these banner headers that we've got everywhere in Facebook, LinkedIn. You can put the banner behind your thing on LinkedIn now. You can, customize that. Twitter customize, YouTube channels customize, Google Plus customize. You can put that images everywhere. So make sure that those are consistent. So your face needs to be consistent as well. If we're talking about online stuff, if you are serious about doing some business with people or you're networking and you want to be relatable, please don't put the drunk picture on LinkedIn.
And don't put the picture from when you were 16.
Right.
Because you're not 16 anymore.
No.
That one just absolutely kills me. Because I have to tell you, I do virtual networking. And with virtual networking, we have the ability, we have audio, we have video. So yes, I can see you when you enter the room, and you're going to see me when you enter the room. And when I invite you and you've got this 23-year-old picture on your profile and you enter with your glasses and your white hair, I'm like, who is that?
Right.
Right?
Right.
True story. Okay. So just pointing out there, everybody. Welcome, Bradley. You guys, we do have an open hot seat. Feel free to hop on in and add to the conversation. Welcome, Lori. Welcome, Shannon. Hi, Chuck. So like I said, we've got a hot seat. Feel free to come on in and add to the conversation. Go ahead, Christy.
Now, I did want to go into the begin with the end in mind section of that chapter 6. Chapter 6 is where we're at on the book. This one. Messaging does have metrics, believe it or not. So there's qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative measurements are clear-cut numbers. Qualitative measurements include more ambiguous information like opinions. Using these metrics can show how effective your messaging is. Once you have a clear picture of your results, you can begin to plan your networking approach with an end result in mind. So the last time we met, we talked about intentionality. So this is how that threads into being intentional. So here's what quantitative metrics would show. New people entering your database as you meet them, referrals from people in your network, sales, likes, followers, friends, and connections on social media. Qualitative metrics look more like the number of people who recognize you by name, the number of people who want to continue conversation with you, all the common thread details like favorite sports teams, kids, etc., and the people who seek you out because they enjoy you. You've probably seen the expression, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie Pearl, comedian of Grand Ole Opry, used to say, love your audience and they will love you back. These two quotes relate to how people feel about you after you've spent time with them. That is qualitative measurement. What impact do you want to have on people? It's not about selling your product or service. Rather, how do you want them to feel when they've spent a moment of time with you? Your messaging metrics can be built with the answers to those questions. Those metrics can become a picture of the end result that you want when developing relationships. So begin with the end result in mind.
Begin with the end result in mind. Mm-hmm. Okay, so give me a little bit of tip or something that I can use. I'm going to go to a networking event this evening. Well, actually, it's not a networking event. I belong to the Tampa Bay Business Owners Group. They are not a networking group. They are a business owners group. And while they do have some networking events, they're very much more about building relationships and offer training. They do a lot of training to help people grow their businesses, and they make personal introductions. You are not allowed to solicit. So I'm going to go to that event tonight. But clearly, myself and everybody else who goes to that event is there to network and make some connections. So give me a couple of tips or tricks that I could use this evening to make that happen in that environment.
So what is the actual goal?
I don't know, just to make more connections that I can collaborate with.
So if you're making more connections, let's figure out what kind of person do you want to collaborate with? And then so you're looking for a specific kind of feel to it. You have your own intention that you're looking for that. If you find that perfect fit of, hey, I'm really interested in collaborating with this person, you want them to feel a certain way about you. Mm-hmm. And so your projection of that combined messaging, you want them to relate to you, you want them to feel good, you want them to remember. And so that feeling then is associated with their remembering you. So the tip would be, back to the why, keep that messaging simple and consistent. But really, if you're making new connections, the key to making the new connections is to connect with them as a person. Their connection with you, it's an association. You want to make sure they remember you and feel good about it. Mm-hmm. So it's connecting with them first, because if you love your audience, they will love you back. It's that reciprocation. That energy happens naturally. So if you are making them feel good, they associate that good feeling with you, and you need to give them something psychologically, which is your branding, your messaging aspect, psychologically to associate with you so they can remember. That's where that stuff comes in. That's how marketing works. It evokes an emotion, and it gives you something to attach the emotion to so that you remember that. And then they just do it over and over and over again, and it's called impressions. And so they have hundreds of thousands of impressions that they're trying to evoke this certain emotion. So when they have drop dead sales, those of us that, love drop dead sales go, oh my gosh, I got to get there for the sale. Black Friday, great example. But if you're walking into the networking event and you want to make new connections, connect with them. And then have your message is the association they need to have with that feeling. So it's a flip of, instead of trying to sell myself and sell my products, I'm trying to bring value to that person and make them feel good. Understanding this is how karma works too. If I make them feel good, they want to be associated with me. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with the actual business. This is where we make everything really, really hard in networking, because we overthink it. All I really need to do is make that person feel valuable in the room, and they love me for it. And then they want to collaborate. They want to hang out. They want more. Now, it's up to me to figure out which ones I want to collaborate with. If I'm being really strategic about it, I like to make everybody feel good, but I don't want to collaborate with everybody. So I then pinpoint those that I want to collaborate with, and they have certain characteristics, certain, industries, so to speak. Certain things, if I'm trying to get something accomplished, then those are the people I'm going to go deeper with in that conversation. But it boils down to how I'm making them feel and how I'm associating myself with that feeling.
Got you. You guys, we do have an open hot seat. Feel free to hop in and introduce yourself. Again, I'm your host, Sabrina Watson, founder of NetworkLiveVirtually.com, where you can come network live virtually with the world. And I'm here with our co-host, Christy Smallwood, author of Networking the No Rules Way. And she has graciously shared her book with us on Google Drive. And that link is in the chat box. I think they're actually on the recordings of this now. I think the chats are back to being included. So
cool.
It'll be interesting to see if people are able to access your book via the recordings. And we're talking about our message. Mm-hmm. Where are we at on that?
So we've went through defining your unique message. And that's really getting down to what makes you unique and as an individual, defining that. And so, you know what? I'm just throw this out there. Please don't tell me that you love to help people. That's not enough. That's not unique enough.
Well, and what does that mean?
Right. It's way too ambiguous. Everybody loves to help everybody, of course, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to make some money by helping somebody. You know, there's aspects of the message to not include. You are not great customer service and great prices. Those are two aspects of things in business you have to have just to play the game. That is not unique enough. So don't use that. Okay. What about your customer service? How do I feel through your customer service that makes it unique? So when you really start defining out that why message and keep the why message very simple, easy to understand, easy for somebody else to repeat on your behalf. Because if I feel good and I've walked away from that, I can then repeat your why message. Why you do what you do is now relatable and repeatable. That's the goal for the why message. That's why you want to keep it short and simple. And it takes work to get it down to a very simple statement, because why we do what we do is so grand and full and lots of words. And we've got to get all of that narrowed down to a very concise sentence that can be repeated by anybody out there, because that's what we want. We want that to be spread. We want people to help spread the word. And that's the association aspect. And so that then leads to consistency. That message, if you've got colors associated with it, if you have icons, if you have pictures, or even characters, you want those things to be consistent throughout all of your platforms. Anywhere that you're talking about you or your business, that needs to be there as well, that brand association. From there, walking into the conversation, how do you introduce yourself with that? Sabrina, I still think that you're spot on with it. Asking the initial question of getting, do you have that business that expands outside of your current market? I help you do that. Giving them time to answer yes or no, and this is what I've got. Then you're able to step in and say, you know what, I can do that for you. And that's awesome. That is a great opener to let's collaborate. Let's talk more about that. And then figuring out, go ahead.
So the question maybe I should change it to, is your business expandable outside of your current geographical area?
Because then you'll know, if they know if their business is expandable or not.
Do you know if your business is expandable?
Because some people don't. It depends on how strong those blinders are that they've got on them as a business owner. Small businesses sometimes don't think big expansion. Sometimes. But you don't know that unless you ask that question that gets them to kind of open up about it. Mm-hmm. And if you're the person that can help them expand that market, then by all means, that's something that you need to know where their head is. Can they see the bigger picture, and is the business expandable?
So maybe, is your business expandable outside of your geographical market? Do you know if your business is expandable outside of your geographical market?
Mm-hmm. And if there is a sliver of a goal for them, then you have just tapped into a value point for me. If I want to be able to expand my business outside of my current market, and it's something I've been wanting to do, you asking me that question now goes, yeah, you're tapping into a goal of mine. I don't know how to get it done though, but yes, I want to do it. You are now stepping in to help me. And how do I feel about that? Oh my gosh, you're going to help me grow my business. What better feeling is it for a business owner to have somebody that can actually help you grow your business?
Free.
Right. Even better.
I'm going to show you how to expand and grow your business free. For free. Mm-hmm. Now that's craziness right there.
That is a little crazy.
Yeah, so people are probably going to look at me like I'm stoned. Sure you are, lady, for free.
But that is a great way to start those conversations, because it's not salesy. It's not come across as I'm trying to sell you something. You're asking that initial question that you're not advertising yourself. You're asking them, is this important to you? And so it opens up that conversation to, yeah, my business is expandable. And, are you doing anything about it? Well, I can help you do that. And then, because the why message, hardly in conversation does the why message ever come up first. It's because it's really important, but you're like ping-ponging back and forth a couple of times, and then now we have the why message, because you want to make sure somebody is tracking with you in a conversation. Are they paying attention to you? Are they nodding their head? Are they actually engaged with you at this moment? And that's just a couple of sentences back and forth, just like you started with. You've asked them the question. They've answered the question in a positive manner. Well, I can help you with that because here's what I'm about. It doesn't take much, but the why doesn't typically come up first. You have a lead in and then you have the why. Because you want to make sure that the why also makes sense somehow. It needs to be simple, but you have a lead in to make sure that they are tracking with you up here so that they're engaged. Are they paying attention? And then there's the why. Now they've got it. Now there's an association. Now we can continue the conversation because they get it. They get it a lot better.
Yeah, and actually a couple of the people that I have the opportunity to hook up with tonight that'll probably be at the event have been on one of my virtual networking groups. And so I'm curious, they were on one of my virtual networking groups yesterday. So I'll be curious to go to that event tonight and say, hey, did you reach out to anybody? Because as Lynn Schuessler Williams would say, the fortune's in the follow-up. Do you know Lynn, by the way? You know
I do.
Lynn,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did. Fortune's in the follow-up. So I'm going to be curious to ask people if they've followed up. And the message that they're putting out there, maybe I should explore that a little bit tonight. One of the things that Charlene Burke mentioned this morning on her networking group was she talked about doing some research, and she had 5 questions, so when you're out and about, even networking, do a little research. There's all kinds of places you can do research. Now, here's the question she was talking about. I don't want to put out the message that I'm researching, but I would love to be able to do a little research when I'm out and about. How am I going to record those answers other than in my head? People are going to freak out if I'm writing shit down.
Well, in front of them, yeah. Yeah. This falls under pace yourself. Have the conversation with them and then step to the side somewhere and take a couple of notes and then go to somebody else and have a conversation. That way you're not writing it. You're not being the reporter right in front of them, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Your body language is going to say enough. Go check your phone at the table and take some notes on the phone or on that business card. Just write a couple of bullet points and then on to the next one. Yeah, you don't have to do it right in front of them, but you still can.
I can't stand there with my clipboard and get the survey done.
Right, or here, just record it for me. Can I video you? Let's just videotape you right now.
Well, that'd be one way to make them run, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I actually heard a podcast yesterday, Top Entrepreneur podcast, and one of the guys he had on there, Michael Port, I think it may have been Michael Port, who whenever he does that kind of stuff or he's doing a blog, sometimes if he's interviewing somebody, he's like, can I just go ahead and get this on video now? He'll just start videotaping people from his phone. That way he's already got it. He's like, I don't wait and reschedule it. I just make them do it right then and there. I'm like, whew, okay.
What does he make them do? That's craziness.
It can be crazy. Some people can pull that stuff off because it's their personality. They can get away with that, but not everybody can do that.
I hear that. Mia says, I always make notes on their business cards for myself, what, where, etc. Mia, I want to tell you that I took a different approach to my business cards. I went to WordCamp Orlando recently, and I received a business card there from a lady. And on the back of her business card, there was 3 little dots, and then it said, we met at, and then there were 3 little dots like an L, and then she would write, where we met on it. And I thought that was a really slick idea. So I changed the back of my business card and I put the "we met at" and the 3 little dots so I can write where we met. But then immediately below that, I also added, are there ways that we might collaborate? Let's have a curiosity conversation. Book a time with me at, and I put the link on my scheduler.
Very cool.
What do you think of that?
I like it. You're immediately giving them direction.
And now, I don't know if all the appointments that I have come from, just those ones that I sent emails out to, or if any of those appointments are actually coming from my business cards that I handed out. Because I went through 100 business cards that day as well.
Nice.
So, and my scheduler was on the back of every business card. I do also want to point out to many of you that are watching this. No, you're right, Charlene. Charlene asked, does it matter? No, it doesn't really matter. I also do want to point out that the scheduler that I use has an embed code, and I have embedded my scheduler on my website. So you do have to go to my website to schedule an appointment with me, which will cause you to do a little perusing maybe.
Right.
So I decided to throw that out there.
Perusing, or I think the word that got used for me this morning was stalking.
Stalking?
He's like,
who are you stalking?
Michael. Oh, I wasn't stalking. Michael stalked me the logo to start working on the logo for our networking boot camp that we want to do in January. So he's going to work on what that look may be and talking about that. And we met and he's like, yeah, I did a little background work. He's like, kind of stalked you.
He did? He said that I kind of stalked you?
I was like, oh. And come to find out, he's local to me. So he's in Sellersburg, Indiana, which is only 40 minutes away from me.
Are you serious? That's crazy.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, you know Dixon. And I said, yeah, I do know Dixon. How do you know Dixon? He's like, well, he's been trying. Yes, Michael.
Michael McKean, Charlene Burke.
Yes.
Michael McKean. He hasn't come to networking in a really long time. So we need to reach out to him and get his little butt back into networking.
Well, you might give him a couple of weeks. His wife's getting ready to pop. They're having a baby.
Oh,
he's like,
alrighty then.
Yeah, he's just been real busy with all of that. He's like, I can't get out right now. I can't do much.
Why, is he delivering the baby or what?
I don't know. I was like, because the way that he presented, he's like, I'm getting ready to have a baby. I was like, really? But I didn't keep going on that because I like that a guy is so excited about becoming a dad that he's having a baby.
Yeah, no, so, he's a super nice guy. I think you'll really enjoy working with him.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. We'll have some ideas for the boot camp for our online training sessions coming up.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. We will be launching a boot camp for anybody watching this in January of 2016. This will be an online virtual boot camp. It will be a 4-part series of training and live interaction with Christy Smallwood herself. So the author of Networking the No Rules Way.
Sometime in January. We haven't set down the official date, and I think that'll be set whenever I get my crap together and Michael gets me an image, and hopefully next week we'll know the dates.
Yeah, the dates have not been nailed down yet, Charlene, but I can assure you that everybody on our email list will certainly know about it when it's time. She says, Charlene says, I'm looking to launch a workshop on live stream for your business in January, starting first week. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that too.
Yeah, ours won't be the first week. It'll be more towards the middle of the month.
Well, I think, Charlene, we should really talk about that and get that out to the email list on the site as well. So, okay. All right, you guys, we are at 10:56. So we're coming up on the hour here. I just want to remind everyone that we are here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Sabrina Watson, with NetworkLiveVirtually.com. If your business is expandable outside of your geographical area, or you don't even know if it's expandable, come see me and I will help connect you locally, nationally, or internationally with others on a virtual live level. My co-host is author Christy Smallwood, networking extraordinaire.
Oh.
And of course, she has a book that you can find on Amazon, Networking the No Rules Way. And she is also a host on networklivevirtually.com. And she has a networking group on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, that is live with audio and video. And you are certainly invited to join her group. There is no cost to join her networking group on Wednesday evenings. So I'm thinking that would you like to do a quick wrap up, Christy, before we shut down our recording?
Sure. So we've talked about messaging is kind of a big deal. Messaging helps create consistency and association with the people that you're talking to or messaging out to. So it falls under love your audience and they'll love you back. People like to do business with people they like, know, and trust. People don't care how much they know until they know how much you care. So think about that, but you are evoking an emotion for people and you want that associated with something that they can remember. So we've talked about having a why statement, very concise, very short, simple to understand. So I know why you do what you do. What's the purpose behind you as an individual that is doing the thing that you're doing? So keep that simple. And then is it associated with something, be it your colors, an icon, an image, a character, a whatever? Is that consistent with the message? Does it make sense? So eagle eye will be an eagle. Does it make sense? And so the more that it makes sense, then you're consistent across all your platforms. You put that message everywhere so that when somebody is associated with you from your business card at an event, they take the business card, they check out your website, they connect with you on LinkedIn. Everything has the same message, and that message has now been impressed upon me multiple times. I will remember it. So now I've associated you with a certain message. That association then becomes this ongoing effect of when they see that image or colors or whatever, animal prints, Wonder Woman, whatever, I'm now associated with that. People are going to remember me because of the association. So that messaging, it makes sense, it attracts people, it's memorable, and you want to be relatable. So you can still measure that. There's differences of measuring of that. Quantitatively, you're adding people into your network, you're getting referrals from that. People are connecting with you on LinkedIn, things like that. You're watching the connections happen. But then the qualitative is that you get certain messages back from people of, oh my gosh, you've changed the way I think about this, or what you said made such an impact, or I really enjoy spending time with you. Let's go have coffee. Let's see how they're coming to you to collaborate because your message has been put out there in such a very concise, relatable way. They've connected with that. And so you want to continue those connections that way. Messaging is kind of the foundation of all of that. It gives you something to keep coming back to have conversation with. So that, a little bit of the wrap up.
Good job, Christy Smallwood. And I just want to say to everybody, she told me that I look great in animal print. So I think maybe I'm going to pick up some more animal print shirts and become your lioness. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.